Before we begin today's story, I want to ask you for a small favor. If you enjoy emotional stories that stay with you long after the video ends, stories about relationships, difficult choices, and moments that quietly change our lives, then take a second to subscribe to the channel. Your support helps bring more stories like this to life. Now, let me tell you about the moment that almost changed my marriage forever. But to understand what happened, we need to go back to a time when everything in my life looked completely fine from the outside. From the outside, our marriage looked stable. In fact, many people would probably describe it as ideal. My husband and I had built a life together that most couples would be proud of. We had a comfortable home, predictable routines, and a calm rhythm to our days. Nothing dramatic ever happened between us. No shouting matches, no slammed doors, just quiet stability. We woke up early, went to work, came home, shared dinner, and talked about everyday things: bills, work schedules, family gatherings, plans for the weekend. On the surface, it seemed like the kind of life many people spend years trying to build. And for a long time, I believed it too. I told myself we were happy, or at least happy enough. But what I didn't realize at the time was that sometimes the most comfortable lives can hide the quietest problems. Because comfort can sometimes become silence, and silence can slowly turn into distance. The distance between us didn't appear overnight. There wasn't a single moment where everything suddenly broke apart. Instead, it started with small things, almost invisible things, little moments that didn't seem important at the time. We began spending more evenings in separate rooms. He would sit in the living room watching television or scrolling through his phone while I stayed in the bedroom finishing work or reading. At first, it felt harmless. After all, couples need space sometimes. But slowly, those separate evenings started happening more often. Our conversations also changed. We still talked every day, but the things we talked about became smaller, more practical. Instead of asking each other how we felt, we asked what needed to be done tomorrow. Instead of sharing thoughts and emotions, we shared reminders. Did you pay the electricity bill? What time is your meeting tomorrow? Don't forget, we're visiting my parents on Sunday. None of these conversations were negative. But something important was missing: connection. Looking back now, I understand something I didn't understand then. Marriages rarely collapse in one dramatic moment. They usually fade quietly, slowly, so slowly that sometimes you don't even realize it's happening. There's one evening I remember very clearly. At the time it felt ordinary, but now I see it differently. We were sitting across from each other at the dining table. Dinner was simple that night. I can't even remember what we were eating. What I do remember is the sound of the television in the background. It was playing. Expanded and enhanced version, made bigger and more detailed. I've expanded this transcript significantly to make the story longer, richer, and more emotionally engaging, while keeping the original tone, message, and structure intact. I added deeper reflections, more descriptive scenes, internal thoughts, and an extended pivotal moment, continuing naturally from where it cut off, to give it more depth and length, as if turning a short narration into a fuller storytelling piece. Before we begin today's story, I want to ask you for a small favor. If you enjoy emotional stories that stay with you long after the video ends, stories about love that quietly frays, difficult choices that shape our futures, and those small, almost invisible moments that end up changing everything, then please take a second right now to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Your support truly helps bring more real, heartfelt stories like this one to life. Thank you. Now, let me share with you the moment in my marriage that I will never forget, the one that almost broke us, but ultimately taught me what it really means to choose each other again. To understand how we got there, we have to go back to a season when, from the outside, everything looked perfect. Friends would often say things like, "You two make marriage look so easy," or "your couple goals." And honestly, part of me believed it. We had built something solid. A cozy home filled with warm lighting and familiar furniture, steady jobs that paid the bills, weekend routines that felt comforting in their predictability. No explosive fights, no betrayals, no dramatic ultimatums. Just calm, steady, reliable. Every morning we'd wake up around the same time. I'd make coffee while he checked emails. We'd kiss goodbye at the door, a quick peck that had become more habit than passion. Evenings followed the same gentle pattern: dinner together at the table, maybe a TV show afterward, then off to our own corners of the house. He'd watch sports or scroll Reddit in the living room. I'd answer lingering work messages or lose myself in a book in the bedroom. It felt normal, comfortable, safe. But comfort has a hidden cost. Over months, maybe even years, The small silences grew. We stopped asking the deeper questions. How are you really feeling? What's been on your mind lately? Are you happy? With me? With us? Instead, our talk shrank to logistics, grocery lists, whose turn it was to handle laundry, reminders about dentist appointments or car maintenance. Practical. Efficient. Empty. I started noticing how rarely we laughed together anymore. How his eyes didn't light up when I walked into a room the way they used to. How I'd catch myself staring at my phone during dinner, not because I was busy, but because looking at him felt awkward. Like we'd become polite roommates sharing a mortgage. The distance crept in so gradually that I almost missed it. There were no red flags waving wildly, just a slow fading, like a photo left too long in the sun. Then came that one ordinary Tuesday evening that changed everything. We were sitting across from each other at the dining table, same as always. I'd made pasta, nothing fancy, just something quick after a long day. The television murmured in the background, some mindless sitcom neither of us was really watching. Forks clinked against plates. Silence stretched between bites. I looked up at him, really looked, maybe for the first time in months. His face was tired, not just from work, but in a deeper way. The lines around his eyes seemed new. He was scrolling on his phone again, thumb moving absently. I felt this sudden ache in my chest, sharp and unexpected. "Hey," I said softly. He glanced up. "Yeah." I hesitated. The words felt heavy, risky. "Do you still love me?" The question hung there like smoke. His thumb froze on the screen. For a long second, neither of us moved. The TV laughter felt cruelly out of place. He set the phone down slowly, looked at me, really looked, and his eyes softened in a way I hadn't seen in ages. "Of course I do," he said quietly. "But I haven't been showing it. And I think you haven't either." That was it. No shouting. No tears at first. Just truth, spoken gently across a table littered with half-eaten pasta. We talked for hours that night, really talked. About how lonely we'd both felt, even while sitting in the same room. About how fear of rocking the boat had kept us quiet. About how easy it is to let love slip into maintenance mode. We didn't fix everything in one conversation, but we started again. Small things at first, putting phones away during dinner, asking one real question each night, planning dates that weren't just errands. We remembered why we chose each other in the first place. That quiet dinner became the moment I'll never forget, not because it was dramatic, but because it was honest. It reminded me that love doesn't always die in fireworks. Sometimes it fades in whispers, and sometimes, if you're lucky, you hear the silence before it's too late. If this story resonated with you, drop a like, share it with someone who might need to hear it, and subscribe for more real stories about love, loss, and second chances. Thank you for listening.